Hello, it's 11, 11th of November 2021. It's a SIG Node CI meeting. Welcome everybody. Okay, so what's on agenda today? Somebody put this flake into our agenda.
Yeah, Alana added it because CI Signal reported it in Slack yesterday.
Okay, so it's marked as thank you for fixing labels. So it doesn't fail too often, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it even was like 4 failures at a time. Okay. Seems that it's worth investigating.
Yeah, it's been flaky on PRs too.
Okay, anybody wants to take it?
Yeah, I can take a look at it.
Thank you, Mike.
I also can take a look. So we'll collaborate with Mike.
I don't remember your, yes.
Eddie's big, right?
Eddie Sky, this Eddie Sky.
This?
Eddie, only Eddie I Sky. It is a.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Right. And Mike.
I'm Miranda.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to switch to another username, but it's already being used.
Yeah, in GitHub, it may be too late if you're already using it. Cool. Thank you. I hope it's something simple.
Last time I changed my GitHub username, it took about a year for every word that I used on GitHub to have like acknowledged that I updated it.
Yeah, that's the other painful thing.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for IGT and Mike. Danielle, do you want to go next? Is this one?
Sure. So, for some context on this PR, we've had a lot of issues with the GPU device plugin tests, namely even after fixing them and getting them running, because of external changes to like CoreOS GPU stuff and whatever else. There's like constant maintenance work to keep that running, even after like moving to the quote unquote like new way of doing stuff. And the device plugin tests that we had alongside the GPU plugin tests have been failing continuously for at least a year, as far as I can tell, because they were marked as flaky and then sort of abandoned. So what I've done here is I've removed the GPU plugin tests and migrated the bits that are valid of both to just use the sample device plugin. So we can remove some of the infra flakiness and cost and like reduce some of our debt of having duplicate tests that don't work. Annoyingly, the way GitHub displays this diff is useless. Opening it as a new file is way easier.
Okay. So is this to do from pass from copy paste?
Yeah.
Just curious. Okay. I was just like, who is this person?
Yeah, I have no idea either. I'm just leaving it there out of. I agree with the to do. We should probably do it eventually. Not right now.
So we getting rid of a GPU test completely, or just in this
Yeah,
test?
this removes the GPU tests and updates these to include everything the GPU tests had. Removing the test that I was skipping because we're never going to support it again.
Okay.
If we
Yeah.
merge this, then there's also the follow-up of removing GPUs from test info and stuff, but I can handle that.
Okay, I will reach out to some people internally who may have more expertise on what needs to be tested on GPU. Is there anything specific you think we will lose with it?
We shouldn't lose any actual coverage because we're testing the exact same code path within KK. And Derek, last time we had a discussion about this kind of stuff that involved him, was pretty against testing like vendor-specific plugins and stuff. So I don't think there should be, like, we shouldn't lose anything, but we should gain a fair bit of maintainability.
Yeah. Last time we discussed with Artyom, I believe, was it somebody wanted to test other devices, and been discussing the sample device, and the concern was that sample device is maybe hard to maintain it by itself.
That was me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I think
so there was a couple of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my point was testing a couple of real devices is helpful for getting like useful release signal and just like maintaining quality. But we're in a position right now where like we get no signal if it's always broken.
Right.
And like we should try and avoid having incredibly red tests right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Maybe we can add GPU back if we'll decide later. If we'll find out to make it how to make it stable.
Short-term fix for just getting things green.
Thank you. Is anybody interested? I will. Oh, you already CC'd me. Perfect. And add it here. I will try to find out somebody to review. Cool. Oh, I did here. New agenda item.
Yeah, sorry. My system is hanging today, so it took time to mute and mute. The TLDR on this topic is the credential providers that are now currently in tree that we want to move out of tree, and the mechanism for is that like there is a cap called as kubelet credential provider cap, and it gives a plugin mechanism to kubelet, so you can attach any credential provider you want. So mostly the entry credential providers we have is from GCP and AWS that currently like when you create a Kubernetes cluster, it currently gets installed with kubelet, but since they are moving out of tree, we need to install them separately on node. So what I have tested is like there are not so basically credential provider used to fetch credentials for private images. So most of the test doesn't use private images. There are quite some specific tests that use private images. So for them to be able to run using the external credential provider, we need to install the credential provider on the node VM. So like there are few ways to do it. Like one is we get directly the image from the GCP cloud provider team, which has already the credential provider and the GCP cloud provider installed. So we just need to pass two flags to kubelet to fetch the credentials. But there hasn't been any image, and due to this, the cap has been stuck to move to beta. So I discussed like this with Dims and Daniel, and they suggested to add to bundle credential provider in Node E2E, like we do for CNI and other stuff. So I tried to add in a mechanism that will build the sample credential provider and install on the node image. But there are some pitfalls with that approach, is that it installs the credential provider binary with the test archive that we copy on the remote node image. So we pass the binary location and config file to kubelet about the credential provider binary location, but that we cannot like pass through directly through CLI. We have to modify that internally in the code, because we don't know the test archive location before the tests start running. So on the dynamically, we need to modify that. So I just wanted to know, like, before working or giving more time on this, like if this approach, if everybody agrees on this approach, or like what everybody wants to suggest. In the issue, I have described like all the like what are the problems and everything. Like, this is essentially not a node problem. It is a combined problem from cloud provider and node SIG, but it's hard for me to get reply from cloud provider SIG.
So you said that credential provider is not needed for all the tests and just a few of them. Do we?
Yeah, yeah. Just for node E2, there are just 2 tests that uses it. Yeah.
Do we test credential provider itself in E2E? So is it a credential provider test or is special private image? I'm just curious, like how much we want to invest into that. And
we basically test the code path from kubelet executing the credential provider plugin, and the credential provider is replying back to kubelet with the credentials, and then the kubelet is forwarding those credentials to the container runtime to fetch the image. So basically the node E2E test covers that complete path. The runtime, the test, like the first test that I link is an only 2 test. If you want to take a look.
And you've been asking about this cloud provider to download, or you just switch into sample cloud credential provider?
Any like we just need a credential provider. Any credential provider will work for us if it is already installed in the node image. But there is one more catch here, like the problem with basically I was just talking to the GCP cloud provider team, because our whole infrastructure is test and tries based on GCP. So I think all our tests doesn't use the GCP out of tree cloud provider also, and they only support the credential provider with cloud provider. So so to run the test using the credential provider, you need to provision the cluster using out of tree cloud provider as well. So
yeah, I think there is another pull request adding the ability to override cloud provider. Somebody working on that. Yeah, I will need to read more about it.
Yeah, until we figure this out, like we cannot move with the cap like forward. It will stay in alpha without any tests. Like it's not really like at this point, like we have missed the 1.23 deadline. So right now it's not very important to look at it, but like just like when you all get free with the 1.23 stuff and like start looking for 1.24 stuff, then that time is also okay. Yeah.
And the only alternative path we really have would be using init scripts and then providing a custom kubelet configuration. But that would kind of suck when it comes to testing across different CRIs.
And with that path, providing a init config or image config, we also need a storage bucket to store the credential provider, like binary somewhere, so that within its script we can download.
I think we can figure out binary part somehow. Like we may build some credential providers.
Okay. If you like, maybe when like you free with the 1.23 tasks, we can discuss this like in a call or something.
Yeah, I will ping Walter to understand what's going on like their side. And
It looks
okay.
like there's only one thing that's using it in the like our separate E2E node test suite, and then everything else looks like it's in SIG apps. Have you flagged the latter two? Because I see this is only tagged with SIG Cloud Provider and SIG Node. Have you flagged test 2 and 3 to SIG apps?
I haven't yet to SIG apps, but like chasing cloud provider.
Yeah, I would do that too, just because like in the same way that you're coming to SIG Node and saying, hey, you need to fix the E2E node tests, SIG apps similarly should be dealing with the test E2E apps tests.
Yeah, so I'll ping the app SIG also, but the reason for like coming to Node SIG Node is like this is the code relates to kubelet's path, and like it's kubelet's job to exec and call credential provider. That's why it affects us.
Oh, sure, but I mean, like, there's many things for which that's true, right? Like similarly the CSI, but that's still the realm of like SIG storage as opposed to us. I would make sure also that we're talking to SIG testing about this, because they'll probably have some ideas in terms of like how they would want to set up the infrastructure, or like how it would be reasonable to do this architecturally. And depending on if we need like large infra changes, or if we have like big deployment changes, we should also be talking to SIG infra.
Okay. I tried talking SIG testing in the past, but not got any inputs. I try again, like to SIG testing and infra as well.
I think
Basically, I'll
very
possibly
understaffed.
Basically I'll write a mail now, like so. Maybe.
I think we'll figure it out. It's just a matter of who will be doing that, who will be putting the credential provider in a proper place.
Yes,
And,
I suspect that probably SIG testing wants you to come to them with a proposal that they can review. I suspect that they probably see this as the responsibility of cloud provider, not them, which would be reasonable. And I would say similarly as like Node, this is sort of a jointly owned thing where like Node is reviewing some stuff, but I would say that probably the bulk of the work is living with cloud provider. So it's their migration. So.
For what it's worth, like whether we like install from like an init script or install with the PR we already have, like there's relatively little in it regardless. They're both fairly lightweight. Just one's gonna need infrastructure. Should be easy enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have Arnaud on the call today, or else we could have gotten a quick sniff test from him.
okay, I think very next step is to make sure that there is at least some blob with credential provider to download from, and then we can move forward. I can talk to Walter and Aditya. I see you pushing forward for the sample credential provider. So maybe if we have it, we could have a like similar build job as we have for other things that will push it into blob.
Yeah, I'm okay with pushing basically any credential provider. Like
Yeah,
if
exactly.
GCP team wants to push their credential provider, I don't have any problem.
Okay. Yeah, I will chat with Walter. I will send him email later today. Um,
Yeah, thank
okay.
you.
Any other topics of status of?
Yes, I just added one. Also, sorry that I was late to the meeting. Where did we get with that first test that we were getting pinged from the CI team as to whether or not it was release blocker? Did we go over that one?
Yeah, Mike and IGT will take a look.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that the serial tab isn't red anymore, and it looks like we have just a few tests that are flaking. And from what I could see, they were all Docker-based tests, and I don't know why they. Oh, and also that container runtime disruptive test, which I think is just not a very good test. Having copied it to write another test, I soon discovered that it's kind of flaky.
Yeah, I just don't know how much energy we have to push it to the completion to make it green all the time. With all other work happening.
I'd be incredibly tempted to move Docker shim tests to their own suite.
Yeah, and then we can just delete them all later.
Like, they're all tagged.
Yeah, they're all tagged, which is nice. So it should be pretty easy. I guess, where does that leave us for the serial test? Like, I feel like we don't have that many of them. So, like, we may be able to potentially, like, run these tests more frequently on PRs. I know right now they still time out relatively frequently, and so that 4-hour runtime is pretty brutal. But I think the more tests that we punt out of here, I think we're getting pretty close to these being either release blocking or release informing.
Yeah, and the topology manager tab can be removed after that because we have duplication of things.
Yeah, and it
now
also looks like most
seems
of them are being
stable.
skipped.
Also, if we take a look in node kubelet flaky,
There's, I think, nothing there, or there might be one test.
there's two tests. One test is being removed by a PR I have open, which is device plugin, and then critical pod looks stable. Oh wait, no, skipped.
It's just skipped.
That sounds like we should either fix it or get rid of it.
Yeah, I mean, really what we should do is we should punt all of the flaky tests into this flaky job. But I don't know that we have been doing that.
It's reasonable for for test grids that were green before and became red.
Yeah, particularly for the stuff in kubelet serial that's stopping it from being green all of the time.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's just like Docker shim stuff, and I'm surprised that it's Docker shim stuff, and I think it's mostly just Docker shim stuff timing out, with the exception of that one like restarting the container network runtime, which I think is just not a very well written test, and that one's been around for a long time, so I think it's been flaky for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to understand whether we want to get it before 123, or we can like concentrate on 123 pull request reviews and such, and later we
I
can
would
fix
like to
those
get this
tests.
job green before the end of this release.
I can file a PR that'll move those out of this and into their own job tonight.
That would be awesome.
Like, that's 2 seconds work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will do it, I think. Yeah. Just put flake on that.
Yeah, I can get the one. I think if I don't have a bug up already for that one, I can mark that the restart runtime one is flaky, and then we can move the rest of the Docker ones into their own suite, and then next release we can just get rid of that job, which will be great. And I think we're done. It'll be green. Although at some point it probably behooves us to go and look at all of these tests that are getting skipped all the time and make sure that they're actually running somewhere. Because there's a decent number of them, and I don't know why they're all getting skipped.
Okay, so if you just remove this test, we can make it green. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great work, team. We have been hauling ass on this one. There's my one swear word for the PG-13 recording.
I
Create
can
by
move the
code
Docker
freeze.
Shims, the Docker Shim test to another suite if you want.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
doing
just
it
give
now.
you- Oh, you're doing. Oh, sorry. My
Okay,
bad.
so Danielle will do that. Mike, if you want to just mark that container restart test as flaky, then I can review that.
Sure, I can do that.
Because that'll be like a one-line PR.
Okay. This is great. Let's take a look at the board. Okay, cherry pick.
It's a cherry pick back to 121. If it's just a test change, why are we cherry picking it?
It's, it says it's flakes on
I
121.
see.
I haven't. Okay. It's release block in 121. Don't see any flakes.
Oh, what about on the container D suite?
It's conformance. So
Oh,
yeah.
I
it's
see.
different.
No, but like, you
Oh.
see there's a tab there on the release blocking node. Oh, that's the serial tests.
No, I
Wait,
need to
why
put-
is that still there? Oh, I think we kept it on our dashboard, but we removed it from release.
release.
I think it's just going to be called 120. It'll be on a 121 tab if we're looking at 121.
I don't see it. Informing, maybe.
Could be.
Let me ask.
Yeah, test grid links are good.
Wow. I don't think it's belong to this group. So archive it. This one. Что я прометил? Volume metrics. Ephemeral. I don't know. So that's. So it says that volume metrics ephemeral should create. Is it a error message? So all the tests are pointing to SIG Node tests. Okay.
Wait, why was that tagged as sig node if it was ephemeral volume metrics? Is that us?
Yeah, exactly. That's my question, because it says, I'm trying to understand what this means. Like this test and all the recent failures show pointing to our test, which doesn't have any volume. It's all SIG Node.
Oh, but expand them? What do they say?
Yeah, they maybe somewhere here. Volume. Volume attached. No, nothing. Yeah, that's what's confusing me. So I'm trying to understand graceful terminations is still working. Oh, it's part of
They were supposed to.
feature serial.
If you go back to Paco's comment, there should be specific jobs linked where they're not where this failed.
Yeah, I'm doing. Let's take this one. Okay, this one is old because we don't have this anymore. Let's take this one. So it only points to graceful termination, graceful shutdown, and this legacy Docker thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it there either.
Yeah, and it's all green now. So graceful shutdown. It was green for a very long time.
I think this was one of the tests that when I was debugging was only broken because dynamic kubelet config was broken.
Okay. Closing things. Okay. Done. Okay, this is another instance of the same cherry pick. I will add a comment later. Okay. Support 120 data.
I don't think that's CI subgroup
Yeah.
specific.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is easy. Oh, sorry. We just updating the version of C-Advisor and tests. Our review. Okay, this is what we discussed. I think can keep it in progress. And IDT working on that, right? Just want to make sure that we have somebody assigned. Not periodic job scope test 2. Any takers? Just a couple new definitions.
Sergey, you might have more context than me for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll assign to myself and I'll talk to David Porter. Maybe He can help. Huge pages just fails. Is it still failing? No, it's green now. Yeah, I remember there was a PR that was fixing something in this space, so maybe it was fixed. Okay, this person, Lee, yeah, he already had a pull request out. This is in progress. And this one we discussed today. Yeah, I'll ask who can review. Ilana, if anybody interested in reviewing removal of GPU tests.
Oh
very
yeah,
interesting.
just I have a bunch of review stuff on my backlog for today, so throw it on the pile before code freeze. Luckily, I have the hours, so long as I get this C advisor stuff working. So.
Okay. Okay, we're done. Oh no, okay.
Oh, do we have a visitor? SIG Node new member in training.
He want to show his doggy. Yeah, it's his doggy. Okay, say bye-bye. Okay. Go, go. Sorry for interruption.
That was the best. Are we gonna do bugs? Oh, there was one more that I dragged onto the board, that test sync labels, no labels test. I think that one didn't get triaged yet. And it doesn't have an assignee, so. Oh, and this is the one that,
Should I do assign?
yeah, you might need to assign.
Okay.
In the triage column, I added a new thing. That one, yeah.
So it seems that it's fixed already.
Yeah, so I guess we can close it.
Okay. Yeah, this is still to do. And a couple things that needs reviewer. Okay, this is easy if anybody wants a review.
Again.
Yeah, and it's not like I cannot approve, so it's SIG instrumentation and kind. Yeah, somebody else will need to do that. LG-pass. Okay.
I'm gonna be able to assign Harshal to that one, since he has reviewed it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, this one. I also assigned so it will not show up on the board. Okay. Yeah, let's do bugs. Anything else on the test agenda? Okay, then. Going to bugs.
Oh, I haven't dragged anything on here in a while. Conflict points.
Yeah, I
haven't
did
hit it.
recently, so
Awesome.
should be up to date. Okay. Grateful not shut down.
I feel like this isn't the first report we've seen of something like this.
I think it's the same bug. Just you're looking at it all the time, like
This
all
is
over
very
and over.
detailed, which is cool. Oh, I see. Ah, they came back and gave more information.
Yeah, we have assignee. I don't think Tanzan is a real bug or not. Yeah. It may be specific to configuration EKS, I would guess.
I think we should just triage accept this one.
So just
I think
keep
there's
it.
enough information here to do some stuff with it. Like it looks like Shuming is looking at it, so
Accept that. I think. Okay. Myself. Okay. Okay, so we need SIGs. It Kubel doesn't store information about being master anywhere.
wait, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't. I mean, how Kublet will know
This looks like a
to
cloud
make it so
provider
normal?
problem.
Yeah,
I think we can remove sig node.
yeah. remove it from report. Then also should be checked. Okay.
It seems like a support request.
Yeah, I heard this before. This was mostly SIG storage.
Yeah, mounts get stuck sometimes. It sounds like a storage thing. I mean, we would need, I think this one needs information because we would need the kubelet logs from when this is happening if we were actually to have any hope of fixing this.
Also, they stopped the kubelet.
Yeah, so
Yeah, but
kubelet log wouldn't
that's
help.
fine. Like, I think it's okay if somebody stops a kubelet. If the kubelet is stopped, then I would expect Kubernetes to be like, I don't know what happened on that node. If it was a stateful set pod, then maybe it would like react differently. But if it's just a single pod,
Yeah, but
Could
the
also
point
be a
is
bug in
who
like.
go ahead.
Could also be a bug in like the GCP like CSI driver.
oh,
Like-
but hold on. This is the pod will be evicted and recreated on another available node. Pods don't get if pods get evicted, they typically don't get recreated. A controller has to deal with that. Like pods are mortal. Once they're dead, they're dead.
I think it means that like new pod will be like
Yeah, but a controller
Created.
should be responsible for that, right? Like there's nothing that will cause a pod to get recreated after eviction. Once a pod gets evicted, it's evicted. That's the end of the life for that pod.
No,
They don't get
it is
recreated.
it is what's happening. I understand, and I understand that now nothing detach the volume on a first node.
Well, didn't they like kill the kubelet? How can they detach the volume now? The
Exactly.
kubelet's responsible for detaching the volume. Like that, you have killed the thing that does the volume detachment. Deleting the thing in the Kubernetes database doesn't make any difference.
This seems like kind support.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, I will leave
So
it
we're
as this.
gonna tell this person that if they stop the kubelet, that it can't unmount volumes, and if they delete the volume attachment, that's only affecting etcd. That doesn't actually do anything on the node.
I think node will be taken care of. Will be removed and stopped by node controller.
Yeah, but they're not removing the node. They're just like stopping the kubelet. So the node stays in the cluster until
Yeah, but
like that gets
kubelet will
updated.
be kubelet will not report healthy state, and node
Correct.
controller will.
The node will
yeah.
just be it'll be unknown state. But they're saying that the pod doesn't actually come back as being like what's going on with it, and like shouldn't it be evicted and all that jazz. And there's just I think there's a lot of fundamentals missing in terms of how this person understands the way that Kubernetes works.
But node controller is supposed to like remove the node if kubelet is stopped for a long time. It will just do things.
So like that's true, but if you go back up and you look at the things that they expected to happen, they expected that like after they stopped their kubelet, and they delete the volume attachment, that like the pod will be marked as evicted. But in reality, the pod will probably go into unknown state. And
Yeah.
deleting the volume attachment isn't going to do anything because you're just deleting it in etcd. It doesn't affect the node because the kubelet is not on.
Okay. I think we're spending a little bit too much time on that. But
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that we probably should close this. I can go back and say that more clearly.
okay. It's the same. Oh, okay. I opened it twice. The latency is cut over this. Is it slash, I think? Okay, it's a slash thing. We have a PR that introduces a slash in Cisco.
I feel like I think Mengzhou submitted a PR to fix this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But this got reopened. I see.
Oh. Okay. Then, yeah, it's accepted. Let's go to accepted. Okay, it's being worked on. Kubernetes leaks something.
I've got to drop. See y'all next week.
Yeah, see you.
Bye, Danielle. I've got to drop in 3 minutes as well.
Yeah, I think we all. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this SC Linux thing. It feels like it has enough information, but I'm not very familiar with what is this expecting to do. do this, and do both of that above. Also file descriptors. Yeah, I mean, looks like legit bug. I suggest we. Okay. We may have time for one more.
Okay.
Does give and best effort. Yeah, maybe triage it next week when Artyom is around. Okay, it's a little bit too long for me to read through in 2 minutes, in 1 minute already. So is there anything else for today?
I don't have
Thank you everybody for coming. We didn't discuss the time, like whether we want to keep the time. IDT, you joined this time and like this is great. I think this was intention. Is 10 p.m. Wednesday doesn't work for you at all?
It's actually now 11 with the daylight savings. It's now actually 11:30 p.m. So it doesn't, the other meetings doesn't work at all for me.
Absolutely. Okay.
But like, I won't force you to just run this meeting because of me only. Like, I'll keep the async discussion on.
Yeah.
So.
I've definitely noticed we're not getting great attendance on this time. I think we explicitly put this time slot in place so that we could get more involvement from contributors in India and China, and about, I would say, other than this time, where it's great to see you, Aditi, we normally don't get anybody from like APAC time zones. So I
And we're losing
wonder if
people.
we should, yeah, we actually are losing. Oh, are we losing people now too?
No, we're losing
I don't
people
recall.
because, like,
yeah, we're losing people because it's
from
not the
regular time.
regular time.
Yeah.
So I would say maybe going forward, we could consider moving the other one earlier, but generally I'm not sure that this time is actually making a difference. And I know I have a conflict every week, so.
And we move the other one 1 hour earlier, is it possible?
I think it could be. I might have to move a meeting that now would conflict, but I think we that was how we had it previously, and we were having attendance issues as well. So, but I don't know if maybe that will change.
No, we never had it at 9 a.m., but we can.
Oh, I thought it used to be at 9 a.m. and then we moved it to 10.
Maybe.
Oh, it was on Mondays. That was why.
Yeah, it was on Mondays 9 a.m. Yes, right. Okay, let's maybe discuss in the Slack before the next meeting. Okay, cool. Or maybe we'll discuss in the next meeting. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone.